100 years of experience lie in Ideal, South Dakota. The team at Jorgensen Land and Cattle is going to take the time to offer insight into that experience along with many other industry experts. If you're ready to learn and grow, this is The Source. Welcome back to Field Notes. Joined by a very special guest today for the first time. You guys will get to see more and more of him over the coming months. If you've called Jorgensen Land and Cattle over the last 14 years to talk about cattle, bulls, anything program related, you've probably talked to this guy. Welcome to the show, Andy Tegethoff.
Thank you very much, Jamie. Pleasure to be here.
I appreciate you taking the time. Kind of late in the season for this conversation, but a conversation that we need to have nonetheless on a Field Notes episode. Jorgensen Land and Cattle very diverse in how we market Angus genetics. And we have a lot of questions about the term SmartBulls. So, Andy, I'm just going to turn you loose. What in the heck is a Smart Bull?
Well, a Smart Bull is, I like to say, a refined product. They come over our leasing program. Without the leasing program, we couldn't have Smart Bulls. So the bulls are leased out once as a yearling, and then again as a 2-year-old. They're semen tested, trick tested every time they go out and come back. And then they're checked for soundness, all that fun stuff, feet. And then when they come back after a yearling, all that, they go through the whole rigmarole. They go out again as a 2-year-old. They go through the whole gamut once more. And then when they finally get back to us after their second lease, and then they pass all the tests, jump through all the hoops, pass their semen test, trick tests, we do all that. They pass all those. They look like a good, sound breeding bull. Then we put them in our Smart Bull program. And they're a darn good bull. By that point, they're, like I said, a refined product. We know what they are. We have all the confidence in the world in these bulls, selling them all over the country.
So age-wise, we're talking when you start marketing those bulls, they're going to be that coming 3 type time frame to now being getting close to true 3-year-olds.
Yeah, absolutely. They're coming 3-year-old bulls when we start selling them in the fall. After they come back off of lease in the midsummer. So they'll be 30 months old, give or take. And then at this point in time, when we're still selling some, they're going to be right at 36 months old, around there.
What was kind of the impetus of the Smart Bull program? Where did the Jorgensen family come up with the concept of this aged bull? And then talk to me about the market that they're now really, really popular in, and where a lot of these cattle end up at that older age.
Yeah, so in the early days, when Greg was leasing bulls, we kind of needed an outlet. After the bulls were leased out once, you couldn't just, cut ties with them, send them to the sale barn. They were still a good bull at that point. And at that point, when he first started, he was just leasing them once and then selling them as a 2-year-old bull. And then we figured, or Greg figured that as he spent his winters in the South in Florida, that the bulls really held up really well down there. And then they, the older they were at a 3-year-old bull, the better. And they just hold up so well down there. And so Greg just thought, hey, let's just lease them out one more time, get 2 leases out of them. And then at that point, they're an older bull. They got a fully expanded rumen. They're fully developed at that point. They got a full set of teeth, and they can just last and last in the South. They eat all that washy grass that will make a yearling bull, or even sometimes a 2-year-old bull, just tip over dead of bloat. And these older bulls, they can eat it all day long and get the sustenance they need and last.
Yeah, I mean you're talking about a bull that has been through, as you said, the ringer. I mean he's made a herd bull at that point. He's one that's going to be around a while.
Yeah,
and he's rugged enough to go wherever you want to send him and be there.
Yeah, absolutely. Through the leasing process, they get sent to Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, every type of terrain that is basically out there. And then they come back to us, and he's been, like you said, put through the ringer. If he's not a good bull, we're not selling him, and we just end up taking him to the sale barn. But if they make it that far, they've been put through any type of terrain, especially leasing them out twice, because the first lease on a bull, he might not go, he might just go next door, down the street somewhere,
Right.
and then come back. And then as a 2-year-old, he might get shipped off to Texas,
Right.
and so he's seen it all. And at the end of it, if he's made it that far, he's a darn good bull.
Yep. And the bulls that end up as SmartBulls, they're going to be a mixture of Jorgensen home raised stuff along with cattle from the genetic partners. Just kind of touch on the overall genetics behind what ends up being a smart bull there.
Yeah, so what ends up being a smart bull, along with our home raised bulls, our bulls out of our parent stock cow herd, those would be the registered bulls. But the vast majority of these smart bulls are coming out of our cooperators that they come to our sale every year. They buy our top bulls, they take them back to their cows. We buy back the wean bull calves. And the majority of the bulls that we lease out are those cooperator bulls.
Absolutely.
And then, as mathematics would have it, they end up being the majority of our smart bulls.
Right. And all these bulls backed with, we've talked about the ideal beef evaluation on this show before, all these bulls backed by a full set of genomic enhanced EPDs.
Yeah.
All the data you could ever want on them.
Yeah, that's the best part of them, I think, is that, we're not just selling commercial bulls that we don't know the background on. We don't know, the sire, the dam. We've got everything in our profile on that bull to help cattlemen make a very sound and educated decision on what bull to pick.
Right. So you mentioned a little bit geographic location of where these smart bulls are going. Florida, Louisiana, the Gulf Coast of Texas. And we talk about that because that's really kind of been the market for them historically. That was where Greg was spending his winters. The emphasis was those bulls will fit in a lot of other environments as well.
Yeah, they do great, like you said, in the South, Florida, Texas, Louisiana, selling some now into Colorado. We're trying to get further out west. Nevada, we've sold some in the past, looking to do that in the future here. And then also California. That's kind of a burgeoning market for us getting out west further, especially on the West Coast.
Yeah, and that Southwest part of the world, very much a different environment than Florida, but the same rate limiting factors, just in different ways. We talk about wash, have to consume a pile of forage in Florida and to stay in rig. Going to Arizona, they've got to travel to get feed. Again, an older bull to be able to get out there, get on the move, go cover the country he needs to cover, to eat, to find cows, to breed cows.
Yep. They work in all conditions, whether they got grass up to their bellies or whether they gotta forage and hunt for it. They're gonna be able to travel. Like we said earlier, all these bulls, they're checked over for soundness of good feet, everything like that. They're able to travel if they have to travel and find what they got to do to survive.
Yep. So let's talk specifics here. We have a sale coming up. Fallon, Nevada. Tell me a little bit about where that sale is going to be held at, when it is, and a little bit of what you're bringing.
Yeah, so we're super excited about this sale in Nevada. It's at Fallon Livestock, March 17th, around 1 o'clock, I'm guessing. But Tommy Lee is the sale barn operator out there. We reached out to him through a guy out in California that we also had a bull sale with out at the 101 Livestock, Jim Warren. He said, "Hey, call this Tommy Lee. He's looking for some bulls to sell." And so we reached out to Tommy Lee when we were out there in August at the Winnemucca Superior sale out there. We went and visited the place. Awesome facilities. Tommy Lee was great. We're going to have around 30 or so, maybe a few more, depending on how semen test goes. But it's going to be a nice mix. We're going to have some registered bulls and some, I don't like to call them commercial bulls because we know everything about these bulls. So they're not commercial bulls in the historical sense, but registered bulls and non-papered bulls, I guess. But they're going to be good. I picked them out just the other day, and they're going to be ready to rock.
Yep. Nice set of bulls. as we put this book together, good mix of heifer bulls, cow bulls, good mix of Kevinese, and then there's some straight power bulls in there for a guy that really wants to pack some pounds on.
Yep.
Going to be a nice mix.
Yeah, absolutely. If, whatever you're needing, whether you're needing a couple of heifer bulls or some good power bulls, like you said, they're going to be in this sale, and they're going to be good.
Absolutely. Thank you, Andy, for taking the time to sit down and visit about SmartBulls a little bit. We'll have a full episode on this at some point in time. Again, coming up, Fallon Livestock, Fallon, Nevada, March 17th, 1 o'clock. Any questions, call Andy Tegethoff or the JLC office. Catalog is available. Can contact any one of us at Jorgensen Land and Cattle. We'll get you on via email. Not a problem. And if you have any questions, there's the man. Andy, any closing thoughts on this sale going into Fallon?
You better be there if you want some good bulls. We have sold out basically of all of our other smart bulls. We've been holding on to some bulls for some special sales. And so if you're wanting smart bulls, this is it.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you, Andy. Producer Boston behind the camera, as always. Thank you, sir. And we will see you guys next time.